In this part, I'm going to go ahead and start adding in a little bit of details and personality and character to this little dinosaur here. So looking at my side view, I'm noticing that the stomach area is pretty flat. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch into face mode and maybe select some of these faces here and just bring his belly down a little bit just to kind of round him out a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and give him a jaw. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can try this, and you can sort of experiment and see what works best for you. At first, what a lot of people would do is they would probably select maybe a face like this one or this one here, and they would go ahead and think, okay, I'll go ahead and extrude this out like that, and then maybe select this one and extrude it out like this. And you could do that, and that could certainly work. And of course, bring it out further and shape it, scale it, all that kind of good stuff. But I think that's going to change the overall shape of his head. I'd like to keep the shape that he's got right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a loop cut that goes down the head, through the neck, and through the body. So I'm going to press Control R, and I'm going to put my mouse pointer near the head here, and you can see that it's going to add in a cut that's going to go all the way through. I'm going to left click to add the cut, and now I'm in slide mode, and this saves me so much time doing it like this as opposed to having to tweak all the individual vertices. So I'm going to go ahead and get it right about here and left click and place that cut. So now I'm going to use a new tool that's called Tear. And what you do is you go ahead and you select edges that you want to tear away from the mesh, and then they'll be separated. Excuse me. So I'm going to get into edge mode, and I'm going to go ahead and shift, click, and select all of the edges that I want to tear. There we go. And I should have 3, 4, I should have 7 edges selected. And so if you look up here, again, it's always good to check in up here and just make sure that you have the right amount of geometry selected that you think you have. And now to actually tear these away, I'm just going to press the letter V once. So I press V, and I've torn them away, but now to actually demo that, you can see that I can move my mouse, and you can see that I can actually tear it. This would be a bad tear because it's going through itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and move it a tiny amount and left click to accept. And now that I've done the tearing, now I'm going to go ahead and maybe grab the faces that make up the lower jaw. And now I can go ahead and grab the entire lower jaw and move things about. Always check your selections, make sure you've got the right selections. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. There we go. That's a, let's see, oops, missing one. There we go. That's a clean selection. Okay, so now I can go ahead and grab it a little bit, maybe rotate it downward so it's in a more open position, and there we go, something like that. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. The problem now is that because I did a tear, you can see the inside of his upper jaw, and you can see the inside of his lower jaw. So I'm going to go ahead and tackle that now. And then I think that'll finish up this video. So to make life a little bit easier, I'm going to go ahead and use the hide command. And let's see, I think I'm going to go ahead, just do a quick save as. When I model really anything, I usually do iterations, just because I always want to be able to go back. If you're not familiar with iterative design, it's basically just doing save as's and having different variations. Sometimes the design changes and you try different things. Sometimes it's a little bit of a, like what I'm doing here is a little bit of a safety net, so I can go back. So I'm going to save it as a version 2. There we go. Okay, so now I want to go ahead and I'm going to work on the lower jaw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select the faces that make up the upper jaw. And I'm going to take those selected, and I'm now going to hide them. So I'm going to hide them by pressing H on the keyboard, and there they go. They're now hidden. And you can unhide them by pressing Option H and bring them back. So H to hide them. And now I'm going to go ahead and get into vertex mode, and I'm going to go ahead and select the 4 vertices that make up what I want to see here, and I'll press F to make a face, and I'll rinse and repeat. So just patch these up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and Option H and unhide, and now I'll go ahead and select all the faces on the lower jaw. And I'll press H and hide those. Hide those. There we go. And I'll hide this one. Okay, so now that I've got those hidden, I can go back into Vertex Select, and I'll go ahead and patch up his upper jaw. Again, just always check in, make sure that you have the right number selected that you think you want, or that you need. It never, ever, ever hurts to check in other views and just make sure everything's looking good. Okay, I'm going to Option H and unhide. And there we go. Okay, so just zooming in back here around the throat, or where his throat would begin. You can see I don't have a gap, so that's looking all right. He's got a little bit of a smile. His jaw is a little thin, so I'm going to just go ahead and get in there with Vertex Select and do a little bit of tweaking. Again, I won't make you watch this. I'll stop the recording, and then in the next recording you can go ahead and see where I go from here. So I'll see you in the next video, and good luck. Happy blending.